On the far outskirts of Montana, there's a narrow, lonely stretch of highway called Red Creek Road. It's a place whispered about in hushed tones by locals. They say it's cursed. Cars die there for no reason, batteries suddenly drained. Cold breath whispers your name even when you're completely alone. And there's one rule everyone knows: never, ever stop at the very end of that road, because that's where the house stands. It's an old, forgotten home. No lights, no neighbors, no visitors. Just an empty shell where a family once lived, until they mysteriously vanished in a single night. Their belongings were left exactly where they were, untouched, as if time froze right in the middle of their lives. A half-eaten dinner on the table, a book left open on the nightstand. It's a place that holds its breath, waiting. Last winter, a travel vlogger named Evan Miller decided this house would be his next big hit. He stood outside, camera rolling, and made a promise to his subscribers. If this video hits 1 million views, I'll stay the night. A dangerous promise. What he didn't know was that the house had been waiting for someone exactly like him. Someone who wanted attention, someone who would invite the world to watch. He started his live stream around 10 p.m. A thick blanket of snow covered the ground, so quiet that his own footsteps sounded like muffled whispers against the eerie silence. The moment he pushed the old door open and stepped inside, it slammed shut behind him with a deafening boom. He tried to laugh it off for the camera. Whoa, must have been the wind. But there was no wind that night. The air was dead still. Inside the house was a time capsule. Plates were still set on the dining table. A child's coat hung limply on a hook by the door. A pair of small shoes were lined up neatly along the edge of a dusty rug. But the air felt heavy, thick with a presence. It was the feeling of being watched, of someone standing right behind you, their cold breath on your neck. Evan lifted his camera, his voice a little shaky. All right, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I think I made a huge mistake coming here alone. The comment section was already flying by with a mix of excitement and warnings. 2 minutes into the recording, something shifted. A long, low creak echoed from deep within the hallway, and then he noticed it. Every mirror in the house, big ones, small ones, cracked ones, had tilted just slightly. All of them were now facing him directly. He hadn't touched a single one. At the far end of the hall, a tall, ornate mirror began to fog over, as if someone had just breathed on it. And then, as Evan's viewers watched in horror, words began to appear, scrawled by an invisible finger. "We see you." Evan's breath hitched. He whispered into his microphone, Is someone here?" Suddenly the floorboards above him thumped. Once, twice. Then faster and faster, like the frantic footsteps of someone sprinting straight toward the staircase. His camera shook violently. The lights on his equipment flickered, and in the reflection of every mirror, he saw a different version of himself. One was smiling a wide, unnatural grin. One was weeping silently. Another stared back with hollow, empty sockets where his eyes should be. Then came the voice. It wasn't from the hallway. It wasn't from upstairs. It came from his own camera's speaker, a cold, sibilant whisper that crawled into his ear. "Don't move." His heart hammered against his ribs. Against every instinct, Evan slowly lifted the camera, pointing it toward the fogged mirror. And in the reflection, standing right behind him, was a figure, a woman in a torn, rotting wedding dress, her face completely obscured by a black veil. She didn't move. But his reflection did. His reflection smiled, chilling, predatory smile. It stepped closer to the mirror's surface, raising a hand that wasn't his own. Evan screamed. He dropped the camera and scrambled for the front door, but it seemed to stretch farther and farther away. The hallway twisted around him, growing longer, bending at unnatural angles. The house wasn't just trapping him, it was swallowing him whole. His final, terrified scream echoed through the live stream. The screen glitched, filled with static, then cut to black. But for one horrifying final frame, viewers saw it. Evan being dragged, kicking and screaming, into the mirror by his own reflection. The next morning, the police found his camera on the floor, but there was no sign of Evan Miller. No footprints leading out of the house into the fresh snow. The only new evidence? A set of fresh, desperate handprints smeared on the inside of the hallway mirror. So if you ever find yourself driving down Red Creek Road at night, and you get that strange, chilling feeling, don't look into your mirrors. You might just see a face you don't recognize staring back, the smile that doesn't belong to you. And if you hear a whisper telling you not to move, whatever you do, don't look behind you. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe, because you never know when you might need someone to know where you disappeared.